Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome back to Sim Racing World TV. Tonight, we are excited to present the championship round, the final, round 10 of the SRW V8 Supercars Super 1 Series. Get ready for an action-packed finale, an enduro race at Imola to decide the championship. And it's all brought to you by our major sponsor, DSL Welding, along with the Promo Department and Dragonrc. This is Cow, your average sim racer here, with Stefan McCartan on comms, and we've got Shivy Nathan Howard behind the scenes looking after the tech side once again. Well, here, Stefan, it's the finale of season 1, a 70-minute race to decide it all, buddy. So how pumped can we be?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great way to finish the season in Super 1. We've got a tight battle at the top of the championship between Alex and Blake, so triple points, anything can happen. Tight little track, so it's going to be great fun.
Yeah, I think so. Look, I mean, Blake's got a 204-point lead over Alex in the championship, though, as you said, it is triple point round for the enduro. So, but I think if Blake can just get a decent, solid finish, then he'll wrap it up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as long as he sort of just finishes the race, he's pretty much assured. Looks like he got quite a good battle there, though, from 7th to 3rd as well, only 130 points separating those guys. So, anything to play for that last step on the podium and the points. So those guys will be battling out for sure, and they're all from different teams, so there'll be no team orders in that either. So it's going to be good fun, I reckon.
It is, man. Look, Hayden Norris with Riot Sim Racing, he's currently in 3rd, but it's only 30 points back to Matt Stewart with Vast Motorsports in 4th. So, the battle's still on. And then if you look at Michael Whiting with Fishy Motorsports, he had a pretty ordinary Le Mans round, and that dropped him right down the championship. But he's had a couple of, good races last week, a win as well, that's seen him back up into 5th in the championship. And if he has a great night, he could jump right up too.
Yeah, exactly. And that triple points means a lot. 30 points is only 2 positions on the track at the moment with this round. So a lot more to play for. Yeah, I think these guys are going to give it their all and see what they can do. Obviously, you always got that safety car in the mind, and Imola is a track that requires a lot of deep braking zones. So, people might go that little bit too far and might even see some big crashes as well, which then the safety car comes into play, and that's a whole nother ball game to the race for these guys with their compulsory pit stop they've got to make. So, yeah, I think it's going to be great fun. 70 minutes long race. So it's also a bit of an endurance test these guys' stamina levels, I suppose, because most of them may not be used to the long race. So we'll see how that goes as well for them.
Said, mate, look, there's quite a few sort of variables tonight. It's also looking like a runaway team victory for Fishy Motorsports. They're 858 points clear of After Dark Sim Racing, so I think that's pretty much an unassailable lead. So they will be crowned our Season 1 team champions, I should say. But After Dark and Riot Sim Racing number 1, there's only 12 points between them. So, and then you've got the Riot Sim Racing team number 2. They're 107 points further back. So, could have the Riot Sim boys spoil the After Dark party. We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. It's 4 cars on the track for one team versus 2, so there could be a little bit of team orders in there as well. But Alex Court's proven that he's got that pace to be up the front, so if he can keep it there, hopefully Scotty can have a good run as well. After Dark might be able to hold on to that second there.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Look, I was thinking earlier, Michael Whiting, has got a chance. The triple points might move him a fair way up in the championship. So I thought maybe Blake would consider running shotgun for him, but I can't see the boys even risking Blake's championship just to make sure he at least gets some points, because that's about all he needs to do to wrap it up.
Yeah, I think a lot of that would come down into that latter half or even quarter of the race to see where they're at. If they're running 1-2 on track and Blake's in front, and Michael's got a good gap to say 3rd position, then they might swap it around and give Michael that full chance to be able to do that. But I'd say, yeah, if Blake's got a good sustainable lead, he'll probably just try and hold on to that and claim that championship.
Knowing those boys, they've probably already crunched the numbers and have come up with a few different permutations of how they can work it. But I think you're right. I mean, it's You know, when you start overthinking things like that, it tends to all go wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, a good example is me and Adam were doing that for most of the race on Thursday in that Porsche Cup Enduro around here, and every other lap we were deciding who was going to finish in front of who with that big battle that they had for third position going with Alex. So it was yeah, it's you can definitely overthink it, and it's definitely easy to overthink it. And then while you're doing that, you also lose concentration on what you're actually doing and driving, and then you can easily lose 5 or 10 seconds by just locking a brake and going off, which is so easy to do in these supercars.
Oh, that's right. They're a beast of a car. We love them, but that doesn't mean that they're easy to drive. No ABS, no traction control, so it's all down to the driver inputs. And I think more than anything, it's how smooth you are on the throttle. And smooth and quickly you can get on it before the other guy.
Yeah, exactly. And these cars are also very hard to start as well with the line locker as well. So if you the 10% too much throttle, 10% too less throttle, they'll either bog or they'll wheel spin as well. So getting these off the line is also a bit of an art, which these guys have shown they can obviously do. But anything can happen when it's that last minute enduro with a lot of pressure on.
Well, we've seen the last couple of rounds, there's been 1 or 2 guys that have messed up that start, and it really hurts. I mean, you know, you could lose 6 to 8 positions if you get it wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like this where, you've got 10 to 15 people that can quite easily have the pace to be, line astern with everyone. It's hard to pass at Miller. So it's, yeah, you do that, you're in for a long night.
I think the one thing I like about these cars around Imola is you can probably use a bit of the sausage curbs a little bit more. You can actually use the centre of gravity of the car if you flick it going through, what's the corners, is it after Tamburello? Variante Villeneuve, I think that's what the corner's called, where you go through 5 and 6 and you sort of load the car up on the inside and it almost skims across the top of the sausage curbs without hitting it.
Yeah, it's very fine. You could do it a little bit in the Porsches, but it's obviously these cars are designed to take a bit more of a beating and be throwing around, as you said. So it's yeah, I think a lot of people will see a lot more curb usage than we have in previous races here. So, but also if you use too much curb, there's a good chance the car can bottom out, and then you've got no steering going into the next corner.
Well, it might make it quite interesting and might make it exciting for the viewers out there. Don't forget, guys, if you're enjoying what you see, give us a like and subscribe to Sim Racing World TV so you don't, and click on the notification bell so you don't miss any of the great action we're coming forward. This is our final round of our V8 series for season 1. We've got our next season, I think, starting up on the I think it's in April, or is it early May it's starting up, but go to simracingworld.com.au for all details on our upcoming seasons. We are going to almost having a race almost every night of the week. It'll be fully televised, race control, all that sort of stuff, so get in on the action, guys. Alrighty, Stefan, we are down to the last sort of 4 minutes of qualifying. Blake Delaney with a 143.173 has got a 10th on Alex Court, so it's always those two up front there. Michael Whiting, a fellow fishy boy there, is in 1 minute 43.406 in third, and we're talking another 10th back to Hayden Norris. Just looking at that, you've got basically the top 10 all within a second of each other, and 7 of them inside the 143s, which is just a crazy time around here.
Yeah, it's definitely, these guys definitely are on the pace tonight. And a few minutes ago as well, I was looking at it, was actually Fishy 1, 2, 3. So Alex and Hayden there have done really well to break those guys up, because Fishy guys are always quick in supercars no matter what track you chuck that.
I was going to say, Hayden Norris has had a belter of a sort of second half to the season. You know, he's jumped right up into third in the championship now, and has been right in amongst it the last few rounds, so that's great to see.
Yeah, it's always good to see, a wide spread of teams and cars, or drivers, sorry, up the front. It always makes it more interesting, as you say, with 10 guys within a second, with Harry Dodds there being just under a second and 10th. It's, one little mistake, it's hard to pass when you're even a second a lap quicker. It's, if the car in front doesn't want to, let you by, which they don't have to, it's very hard to try and pass at this sort of track without actually, sending it or doing a dive bomb and that sort of stuff. So it's going to make for some good racing. Hopefully these guys can all keep it clean and make it nice and exciting for the viewers. But yeah, it'll definitely be interesting that sort of first 5 laps just to see how this race sort of settles in and pans out.
How was the tyre wear on Thursday night in the Porsches? We sort of noticed it, didn't really think it was a factor. I think it might be a bit more of a factor tonight with the V8s.
Yeah, definitely. With these cars obviously having 650 horsepower at the rear wheels, they definitely will use the rears up a bit more. As you see there on the rear brakes, these guys will be rears of Bruce there. They're running hot, so these guys will be using the rear brakes a lot more to try and keep the front sort of unweighted, so you can turn it and sort of use the rear to turn the car, which in turn will make the car a bit sharper, but also harder to put traction down. So I think the rear tyres are going to struggle a lot more in these supercars here compared to what we've had at the Porsches. Personally, me and Adam found that with the setup we were using, we ran quite a soft front, trying to keep those alive, but we were running out of front grip towards the end of our stints on Thursday. So I think these guys are definitely going to play their compulsory pit stop off quite smart. Some will do, down the middle, 50-50 even tyre wear, but there might be the odd sort of person.
Your tyres were only going away from you because you pitted to try and take advantage of the safety car you thought was going to come out. So you don't put 30 odd laps on it. So that's why your tyres were not.
Yeah, I'm used to sort of those longer races and officials that I do where it's, an hour and you don't need tyres and that sort of stuff. And I was like, I'll jump in, and I saw obviously teammate Carter die and end up in the lane entry somehow. But so I thought I'd dive in thinking of a safety car, but yeah, it turned out there wasn't. So it was a bit of a struggle, but got there in the end.
You did well, man. Hey, Blake Delaney has broken into the 42s. A 1 minute 42.755. That's, almost half a second on Alex Court. So he has just found a belter of a lap.
Yeah, that's
Scott's pace.
Absolutely, and it's you can't even say it's draft affected because the draft isn't worth a lot at this sort of track. So that's just outright pure speed there by Blake, and Alex has gone a little bit quicker again into 43.1. So yeah, that's definitely as you say, Scott's pace. So he's on it at this last half of the season.
To me, this place seems to be it's all about those chicanes again. I mean, this is the Autodromo Internazionale. I stuffed it up this time. Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Ferrari. So 4.9 Ks, fast flowing straights and corners, but it's those tight chicanes onto the straights afterwards. They seem to be the key. You can carry the speed on that exit. There's your good lap, but it's so easy to push it a little bit too far, go outside those red and white curves, and pick up the off track, and that voids your quality lap.
Yeah, absolutely. And the back chicane's probably one of the hardest corners to get right every lap. I found in the Porsches, and you probably found in the Radicals on Tuesday. You probably couldn't use a lot of curve on the Radicals.
I spun it on lap 1 on the Radicals on that bloody curve, so
Yeah, and I was pretty close to it in the Porsches by going up on 2 wheels. But in these things, you'll just throw it over them, and then you'll have to be wary not to, cut that first one a little bit and get the off track. But also, if you can avoid the second one, it will give you better traction out of there as well. So
that's right. Yeah.
It's
I believe, was it around here? It's the red and white curbing is pretty much the track limit for most of this. So as long as you keep two tyres inside the line, or you keep a tyre inside that white line, then or inside the curb, you're not going to get voided your lap.
Yeah, it is generally how Miller is, but it's pretty tough at certain bits of the track, and I just found that in particular in the Porsches was just the hardest to be consistently through it, because obviously I was battling Alex for a lot of that race with him only a few seconds behind me, but I just found I didn't have a definite braking marker, like it's in between the sort of the 100 and the 50 meter marker, and you just sort of I was just guessing every
the
time.
Third tree?
I think something about there, yeah. Yeah, just sort of guess.
Well, we've got the grid up as the cars start to sort of grid up, getting ready for our enduro race, the finale of tonight's action and the season 1 for the V8 Supercars. Blake Delaney has put it on pole, the 1 minute 42.755 with Fishy Motorsports. Great effort from Blake. He's really been the powerhouse the second half of the season. Alex Corbett after us sim racing in second position there. Michael Whiting with Fishy in third. We've got Hayden Norris, Right Sim Racing in fourth. Another great qualifying result from Hayden. Bruce Tannock with Mag and Turbo Motorsports. David Coleman with Fishy Motorsports. Scott Barge and After Dark. David Nash with Right Sim Racing. Alan Dawson with Right Sim Racing. Also Matt Stewart with Vast Motorsports. And we've got Harry Dodds Performance Sim Racing and Alex McManus bringing up the back of the grid. I did get a shout out from Tyson Magaboy with Performance Sim Racing earlier today saying he unfortunately couldn't make it tonight's race. But not a big grid, but it's going to be action-packed, buddy. These boys have got plenty to prove, and as we've seen before, the V8s do tend to turn it on, and Imola, what a great place to be at.
Yeah, absolutely. And these guys, you know, as you're saying, the top 10 until Blake smashed everyone was within a second. So definitely a little bit of teamwork will be here as well with Hayden there and Bruce next to each other, and the other two right guys there with After Dark in 7th and 2nd. So those guys will be thinking a bit of team championship, I think, later in the race, but they'll be going all out at the start here.
Well, it's all about the start. Again, we've seen it before. You get it wrong off the line here, it can cost you a half a dozen positions or more. All right. Cars are starting to rev up, so the lights must be getting close. This is round 10 of the SRW V8 Supercars Super 1 Series. The lights are on. We get 5 red lights and they go out, and we are on. And the cars have got, it looks like the front runners have all got a fairly clean start there. Alec Court, After Dark Sim Racing, just trying to block Michael Whiting there, but looks like Michael will get up the inside for the first chicane. But Alex is holding his position there. Meanwhile, Blake Delaney has just seen the free track before him and has taken full advantage of it. Look at that, Bruce Tannock getting passed by David Coleman there on the outside. But David's had to get out of that. Bruce, oh, he's gone a bit wide. I thought he went a bit hot through there.
Yeah, he's
trying to hold that position.
Trying to push and get past David Coleman there. It's really good start by Michael Whiting getting the jump on Alex Court there, and he just managed to go around the outside through Villeneuve as well. And with Alex kicking his wheels up over that curve, Alex just didn't quite have the traction. So it's a great start there for Fishy. They'll try and drive away here. Coleman's in 5th. A bit unfortunately for Bruce Tannock, as him and Norris obviously fighting for that second in the team championship. So he's got obviously early days, but he's got a bit of work ahead of him now.
Alec McManus here putting the pressure on Kai Turner. You see Kai just positioning the car on the inside there just to make sure that Alex could get a run up through the final chicane.
Yeah, looks like Kai's got a good exit there.
Millerali.
Yeah, I give up on trying to pronounce some of the names at certain tracks. It's just not worth trying and embarrassing myself.
So Chevy's just showing us he's had a bit of a chat with some of the other producers out there, and he's playing around with the gyro cams with different angles here, which is pretty awesome to see. Hayden Norris looking to try and get up the inside of Alex here. No, Alex has put the car. Alex just making that wide.
Yeah, he was very, very good at defending Alex Court there, and without losing huge amounts of time. He just positions that car, that half car width inside, where it's tempting to go for the dive, but if you do, you're going to make that corner so shallow that you're not going to make it, and probably just result in 2 cars going off. So he's a hell of a defender.
Well, I think that's what happened to that Bruce Tannock that went off there, and that has cost Bruce 7 positions. So, you know, one moment of peak where you try to hold your position maybe where you shouldn't. Sometimes you've got to let it go.
Yeah, absolutely, especially in a 70-minute race. So, you know, if this was the super sprint format with 20-minute races, then absolutely go for it. You got, you know, essentially sort of 10 laps to make as much ground, but in a 70-minute race with about 35 laps or so, you got a long time to make up any positions.
Certainly do. Just on board with Harry Dodds, Performance Sim Racing. He's up 3 positions, qualified in 11th, Harry. So that's a good start from him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's making a few gains there, and he's not far away from the back of Matty Stewart there, and so he may even be looking to make a move on him coming down into this.
Now I do apologise, guys. There was more cars on there. We missed the other guys at the grid, so we missed talking about Matty Scholes and Armour Sharma and Kyle Turner. Dylan Thomas, Alan Dawson, Troy Dooley, those guys were all had qualified, and we completely left them out at the start there, boys. So sorry, we'll just make sure we can focus on the action, and you guys give us some, and we'll get you right to the forefront.
Yeah, with Blake says it's done a 44.6 as well as the fastest lap of the race. So that's only a couple of seconds off his quali lap time on full fuel. So that's pretty impressive pace out there so far with these guys.
Alex Court also in the 44s. Same with Matthew Scholes. He was in the 44s. Let's have a look see if there's any other. Yeah, those are a few guys that sort of in the low 45s. But yeah, David Coleman did a 44.7. So, you know, there's pace early for some of these guys.
Yeah, and some of these guys will obviously a little bit further back will have that little bit of a breather of room, which just allows you to hit your own markers and drive essentially your car that you want to, and you don't have to sort of follow the car in front, which can lead you just to fall into the trap of, you know, following the car in front, following their braking markers, and if they happen to make a mistake, then you also make the mistake as well.
Been there, done that. I mean, do you think the fuel saving benefits sort of sitting in behind cars is going to be a factor tonight?
Yeah, definitely, especially in a V8 supercar. Obviously, you can clutch in and kill the engine, and especially coming up to corners like this. And the
nice move from Armour Sharma there on Alex McManus. So Armour's moved up into 12th. Looks like is that Kai Turner's going to try and make a move on Alex McManus as well. So Alex just got a little bit out of sorts there coming out of the chicane, and doesn't take much for you to end up as prey for the other fish out there in these sort of races.
Oh, absolutely, and especially in supercars where, you know, if you're half a second off putting the traction down, that's worth, you know, 10 to 20 kilometers an hour on any given straight. So yeah, it's so easy to do at this track as well. Catch too much curb, go up on two wheels, and you can lose two positions.
Yeah.
You can see there.
You said before you didn't think that the draft was a huge factor here in Imola. Maybe sort of coming into turn one there. Well, it's Variante Tamburello, so that's turn 2, 3, 4. Yeah, when you're coming into there, even if you do manage to get a run, you're going to be side by side, and it almost seems like the car in front's got that option to, you know, force you wide, or you know, make you either take a sharp entry or a shallow exit.
Yeah, absolutely. Track position's key here. You do obviously get a little bit of draft benefit, and down that big long main straight, as we see David Coleman there's just made a nice pass on Hayden Norris for 4th position going into the hairpin. But yeah, it's if you like, if you take with the curve of the track essentially going around to the left for that turn 1, if you hold that inside line, they're not going to get past you even with the draft. They'll yeah, as you say, pull alongside it probably best. So it's, yeah, I think it's with the little bit of draft you get, you're almost better if you've, you know, you and another car around you to just put your clutch in and save a bit of fuel. And, you know, if you can save 3 or 4 litres, get that extra lap, you'll save 3 seconds in the pit stop. So, and then you'll just pass the car that way. So there's a lot of different strategies that you can play out. But again, early days, 7 minutes in, these guys will probably be starting to think about their strategy with their 1 compulsory pit stop and see what they can do.
You think there'll be anyone brave enough to sort of go for a big undercut?
Yeah, I will honestly, 70 minutes around a track like this, you know, the officials go 45 and the tyres are hurting, as we see a bit of action there with David Coleman.
Boys, we're getting a bit sideways there, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we potentially even see a couple of 2 stoppers and just run short fuel with quali fuel, like almost quali fuel, and just take do 2 pit stops as well.
What's a gaggle of cars going on here? David Coleman, David Nash, Hayden Norris.
3 wide on the exit.
That Matty Stewart's in there. Harry Dodds has taken advantage of that. He's jumped up another couple of spots up into 6th position. Put the car in the right position.
Here.
Oh.
7 minutes in and it feels like it's the last lap.
This is what we wanted to see, buddy. Plenty of action.
Absolutely.
It's what we strive to give you here at SRW TV. Just a great shout out to our sponsors. We've got our major sponsors, the DSL Welding Services. We've also got the Promo Department, who are our safety car sponsor. Hopefully we don't get to see the safety car tonight, though then again sometimes if it stretches out we want to see the safety car. But we've also got Dragonrc. Happy to have all three of those organisations as our sponsors here at SRW TV. And again, if you're interested in getting involved in that side of things, just you know, do a shout out and contact the guys at simracingworld.com.au, and we can go from there. Look at this gaggle of cars. We've got 10 cars in a long train here.
Yeah, this is a recipe for chaos, which is always great to see. Yeah, you know, you have a little battle like that, which was, you know, half a lap, and you brought those guys straight back from Matty Stewart and 8th. That was a couple of seconds behind. Now they're right there, right fighting for each other. And Bruce Tannock, obviously, had that little bit of a bad start, dropping 7 positions, already back into 10th. So he's going to be right into this and trying to make these moves and probably be a little bit aggressive as well.
Right, Hayden Norris got that move stuck back on Harry Dodds there. He was up on the inside coming in the last couple of corners. You can get to see what happened going down the straight, but I'd say that's where he got it done. But Harry's having a good run here. My fellow teammate, he's I think I like the sponsor on the front of that car, but probably shouldn't talk about it too much, seeing I'm in the comp box tonight.
It's all good. I'd be just walking up to Chris Cross if we had if Miles had raced in this particular race, but unfortunately he's a bit sick at the moment, so he can't race tonight.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, that's just everything that's going around. But it's
well, my brother just contacted me today to say that my little 11-year-old niece has caught COVID, so that's them isolated for a week or two.
Yeah, the good old Rona. Everyone's going to get it.
I've so far avoided it, but yeah.
Yes, yeah, same so far. But as I say, it's everyone. It's going around. So everyone will probably get it at some stage, rather or another. But it's yeah, it is what it is. You know, still got a good field here, 17 cars. And as you always do towards the latter of the season, a few people drop out and start falling away as such. But 17 cars and 12 of them are in a line, so it's going to be a great action, I reckon, for the next 60 minutes.
Well, it does go to show. I mean, we talk about how fast sort of Blake and Michael and Alex and the boys running up front are, but there's not that much of a difference between the next battle, the next pack of guys, and they are all generally qualifying within half a second of each other every round. So sometimes it seems sort of from 4th or 5th position back, it's a who's who of any one of those guys can get up the leaderboard on their day, and then we throw in a reverse grid race, and that gives them a chance at matching it up the front.
Yeah, exactly. And as you can see, you got sort of that top 3 breakaway in this one, but that little feisty little battle we saw before between these guys, cost them 2.5 seconds. So, take that away, and we pretty much have a 17-car train for first position, essentially. So these guys definitely are, always you say, they're only maybe sort of a few tenths here and there slower than the cars around them, as Alex was looking very aggressive here on Michael Whiting coming into the chicane.
More than half the field is still 40 cars at the moment, so.
Yeah, exactly. So these guys are definitely shows that the quality of drivers are in Super 1 here with SRW TV is definitely there. As Alex is going for a dive bomb move down there. He's going to pull it up. He is. Squeezed him a bit.
Yeah,
good
a little
move.
Bit of a squeeze there, but I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, hard clean racing.
The only problem he is here, he might have compromised his exit, and Michael might be able to go back at him. But as you said before, getting up alongside's one thing, getting past him into Tamburello, that's another thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not easy at this track. So, good hard clean move there, Alex. And he's obviously going to hunt down Blake now as well, looking for that potential championship win. So if he can catch Blake and race him and possibly look for that first, and hope something else might happen to him later in the race.
Alan Dawson here. I don't think Alan had a great start there. He's been involved when he's down 7 positions at the moment, so we missed what happened to Alan early in the race, but he's fighting back now. We're having a look at Scott Bargen running inside the top 10. Scott's down a couple of spots. He actually qualified in 7th. It's one of his better qualifying runs that he's had this year. Just trying to get a run on Matty Stewart here. He's trying to see if he can get up the inside.
Inside for that corner, which makes the outside for this. I think he's going to break early and try and get the run, but it's very hard to do at that corner because it's very much a one-line sort of corner for your maximum speed. So He's going to tuck back in behind Matty here, and I think Matty's also a bit quicker than Harry, just in front of him. So he'll catch back up to these guys and might look for a move down into turn 1 on the next lap.
As you said, being fast and clear air is one thing, but trying to, fit 2 or 3 supercars into a space that's only designed for one tends to create a bit of chaos out there. So I think most of these boys, we haven't seen any big dive bombs. The racing's been really respectable, and the guys are trying moves, but they're not just diving from a long way back.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Alex has got a nice run out of that last corner here. He's going to get at least side by side. I think Blake is just going to play smart here and let him go and just think of that championship. There's no point fighting when you've got a 200 plus lead, and I think Mikey's actually going to let Michael go as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. Blake just wants a clean, boring race tonight.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
A bit later, but
yeah, I don't blame him. I was looking for the same. Well, Adam was looking for the same on Thursday night, and I decided to not give it to him.
This is a great battle here too. David Nash trying to hold out the third of the Fishy Motorsports car. He's got a big slide there. He somehow saved it.
That is a save and a half.
I think David Coleman did well not to bloody take him out then too.
Oh, it looked like he just got on that exit of the curb and it just sort of auto spun him a little bit. So that's a hell of a save.
It's brought Hayden Norris back into the equation too, so it's a bit of a right sandwich here now for David.
Yeah, absolutely. It's never fun when teammates gang up on you, but it's if he can clear David.
Matty Stewart, what was that? Armour Sharma got a bit wide there, so Armour was having a good run there before. He was up near the top 10, so something's happened to Armour.
Looks like there's a bit of damage to Alan.
These two have been battling each other for the last lap or two, I think.
He's coming down into the penultimate corner here. Is he just going to lock it inside front?
Yeah,
he's just pinched it a bit, and he's just going to run off into that kitty litter. Oh, am I going to avoid him?
Boys did well to avoid him there.
Yeah.
And that's where we saw him rejoin, yep. Okay.
Yeah, it does look like Alan there has had definitely some sort of incident somewhere along the line. He's definitely got a bit of a damaged looking right side to that car.
Nice dent in the left-hand side of the left door there for David Coleman as well, but looks trying to go around the outside of David Nash to get it done. He'll have the line. Yep, have the line into the second part of 10 right there. So that's oh, and he's got loose again. Can he save it? He has, but this might see both the right boys get through. Oh.
He's going to go for the
good switch back there. But that's Hayden Norris just putting the car in the right position there. Oh, you can see the boys are pushing hard. Oh, the tap there. Another good save from David. I think he might have to buy a lottery ticket.
He's looking that way. He's two within the space of 3 or 4 corners. It's yeah, that's some impressive saving to keep that still straight and out, not on the wall.
You can see that, I mean, we're looking at sort of the battle for 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and boys are pushing so hard that the cars are stepping out on the exit. It just goes to show you, if you try to drive these things nice and easy, then you're going to be last.
No, absolutely. Especially in the Super 1 side of it, there's no room for backing off. Essentially, you've got to just be full power, full noise, trying to go as fast as you can every single lap.
Some good action here at the moment. That Kai Turner sort of getting onto the back of this battle now as well. So Scott Bargett has already jumped on the back of it. And again, it just seems once you get a few cars together here, they seem to punch a bit bigger hole in the air. And as soon as you get cars battling, then that gives the guys behind a chance to catch up and join the fun.
Yeah, exactly. These right guys now, they got a little bit of a gap on David. Would be smart. Oh, you see Scotty just get a nice run and just seem to punch the rear of Matty Stewart's car there. He might even make himself vulnerable here to Kai Turner.
What race control? I think race control just may be advised that there's a penalty that's been handed out. We've got a couple. So we've got it was an unsafe re-entry for car 605. That is Matthew Scholes. So he has been given a 10-second penalty. Oh no, I apologise. Yes, he was given a 10-second penalty for the unsafe re-entry, but also car. Oh no, it is an apology. Apologies, car 123 has been given the penalty, not car 605. So that is actually Bruce Tanner that has been given the penalty, not Matty Scholes. So that would have been for that incident where Bruce ran wide on lap 1 and then he's obviously made contact with Matty Scholes when he rejoined.
Yeah, it's obviously not ideal on the team's champion side of it with him and Hayden trying to get that P2, so it's going to put another bit of a blow to his race. But you know, still ages to go. What have we got? 50 odd minutes still of racing. So it's going to be a long night for him in the office, but he's definitely got the pace to be able to do it. So we'll see how he can pull back.
I wonder if iRacing lets you serve that penalty inside. I'm not actually sure about it.
It does. So it depends if it's if it was a 10-second stop and hold, it will allow you to also do your pit stop once the.
However, if it's a black flag, they would have to pit within 3 laps, so that'd be early the pit stop.
Yeah, then it would
it
be.
Might be the way to mitigate the damage, I suppose.
Yeah, you might even be able to do a 2-stop from here, take some fresh tyres, claw a bit of time because tyre change only takes, I think you can get about 18 litres worth of fuel in, so maybe even just do that. Take some tyres while you're in the pit stop, come out and try and get that time back by putting in some fast clean lap times and some relatively fresh air, for, hopefully not obviously losing a lap as well. So that's what I would do, but obviously everyone has their own strategies and does it their own way.
Well, it looks like things have settled down a little bit. We've got a couple of clumps of teammates driving together. So Alex Court is just under 1 second in front of Michael Whiting. Blake Delaney behind him in 3rd position. So that's After Dark at the front with the 2 Fishy boys 2nd and 3rd. And then we've got the 2 Riot cars of David Nash and Hayden Norris here running 4th and 5th. David Coleman, the 3rd Fishy Motorsports car behind in 6th. And then I think we've got Matty Stewart, Fast Motorsports and 7th, Scott Barton with After Dark Sim Racing in 8th. And bringing up the top 10th, Kai Turner in 9th and Bruce Tannock in 10th. Something has happened to Harry Dodds then as well, so I missed that a bit earlier because he was in a good battle there for for 6th, and now Harry's sort of back in 11th, 12th. So
yeah, looking at it, just how much time he's lost, I'm going to say this could actually be the penalty potentially. Look, I know he's just lost the rear on turn in there and cut across turn 1 there, and probably gives you about a 3-second slowdown, I'd probably say, with the way iRacing is. Innocent little mistake, as you say, with the quality of drivers and the pace these guys have. A little mistake like that costs you 5 positions. So it's
it is how it goes.
Absolutely. His Kai Turner's got a nice run on Scotty Bartram there. Is he going to go around the outside, or is he going to look for a switchback here? Going for the switchback. He's got the traction. Oh, he loses traction. Oh, I think that's going to give Scotty Bartram the position there. There's a nice little move he had going. If he had got the traction, I reckon he would have made that move into the turn 5 up here. Excuse me. But yeah, so I think as it stands, I think After Dark will claim P2 in the team championships if it stays as it is. So Scotty Bartram's in a good battle, and he's definitely got the pace to catch Matty Stewart, but Kai's putting a lot of pressure on him behind it as we've got another car going quite slowly. Is that David Coleman? It is.
Oh,
and Scotty's round. Which allows Bruce to go back through, and Harry, and it may even... I'm just going to come back in 11th position with Scholes just staying behind him, but it'll be interesting to see if he just lost traction there by getting too much curb, or if he did happen to have a helping hand from the rear. We'll go back and we'll see if we can get a look at you guys.
He was on the radio there, so there might have been a tap, but we leave that to race control to sort all of that sort of stuff out.
Absolutely, it definitely looked like it was a bit of a weird one, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a little bit of a front to rear contact there from Kai to Scotty, but as I say, we'll let race control decide, and we'll see if we can get this DSL action replay here. So Oh yeah, a little bit of nose to rear contact is. It's quite hard though, because obviously Scotty was on a tighter line because he was sort of having a lunge at David Coleman there, and then Kai was taking the racing line, so it's sort of just a bottleneck effect, if anything. But yeah, we'll leave that up to race control. Scotty Bartram.
My SDK is playing up, so I'll just fix it.
No worries at all. It looks like Scotty Bartram's just taking a little bit of time to get back into his rhythm here as well. As Matthew Scholes is all over the back with his damage to his big Commodore there, so these guys would be smart to try and work together because Scotty's definitely had the pace. So if Scholesy here can stay on the back of him and catch back up to Harry Dodds in 10th, they can both get back into this top 10. And back onto that train, which I think leads all the way up to about 6th position at the moment. Those top 3 have also just staying behind us, and I think you'll probably find those fishy boys will be saving fuel behind Alex there as well. So they're still pumping out mid to low 44s. So they're definitely staying with Alex here. And I definitely think they're going to be trying to save a bit of fuel where they can and jump them in the pit stops.
Really interesting race. We're 25 minutes into the race now. Still got a few battles out there. Kai Turner here trying to hold off Bruce Tannock. You can again see it how aggressive he was going through the Tamburello there, trying to carry as much speed as he can. And we've got Alex McManus here on the back of Dylan Thomas. And I know Alex, picked up a win a couple of rounds ago, and I think it just lifted a bit of the weight off his shoulder. Oh, it's a bit of a tap there. He was trying to carry a fast run. I think he's just going to let Dylan Thomas go through there. And we've got Kai Turner had a little off in front of them as well. So that's cost him a bit of ground. Kai was battling with Bruce Tannock there, so that's cost Kai a few positions.
Oh, just got a bit too much curve and unsettled the rear there.
Hopefully that hasn't been too heavy on the loud pedal as well, I think.
Yeah, hopefully that hasn't given him steering damage with that little wall contact. They're pretty robust cars, so I think he'll be alright. He looks like he's still going around at pretty good speed, so yeah, hopefully that doesn't hurt his car too much.
Well, time will be the tell, but we are coming into sort of about 7 minutes from halfway, so I wouldn't be surprised to see, if you do have a little bit of damage, I think you get too much detriment if you had to pit now.
Yeah, I think it'd be, probably we got 44 minutes to go. You could definitely make it from here. You definitely probably struggle towards that last 10 minutes, but if you happen to, get in a little incident or spin and crash and that sort of stuff, you can definitely make it from here. So it's you might see those that are going to play the long undercut and hopefully hope for another safety car and maybe dive in and do that 2-stopper and come out on even fresher tyres than everyone later on. So.
Well, I think we may be seeing sort of that whole tyre wear starting to come to play with the battle that's before us here, because Alex pushed pretty hard to try and get past these guys and catch up to them initially. And now Michael Whiting and Blake Delaney, the two Fishy Motorsports cars, are right back up on the back of him now. Looks like Blake is just holding back and giving Michael plenty of room to work his magic.
Yeah, which is it says these cars are very tyre sensitive as well, so you got to bring them up quite nice without overheating them and overworking them, which I think Alex might have done, and those Fishy boys just decided to let him go a little bit earlier, and they're probably just playing the nice, smooth, consistent game. So Alex might struggle for a bit of tyres towards the end of the stint here, but also if the Fishy boys decide not to pass, they'll obviously save a lot of fuel staying behind him. So it'll be interesting to see how their strategies play out. I think Alex is probably going to go as long as he can, so he's got fresher tyres towards the end of the race to fend off these other Fishy guys. But you might also see Michael and Blake dive in a couple of laps earlier and try and get that undercut on them.
Okay, so looking at the times here, the guys are still lapping in the 44s for the 2 or 3 of the guys in the front. That's both the Fishy and the 44s. The rest are in the mid 45s. So you are talking this deep into the race. There's about a second difference between that pressure rubber. So you know the undercut could definitely come into play. But as you said, you know, all about tyre life at the end of the race as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You're always going to save a little bit there for the end, just in case you've got, well, in case you're in a similar situation as Alex and that are now battling. But also looks like we've got Kai Turner in the pit lane and Alan Dawson as well. So they might be going for that early pit stop.
Just having a look at Matty Scholes here, was trying to make a move around the outside of Scott Bargent there, but you can see they gained that just getting a little bit offline out in the marbles. It just cost them half a second there at least.
Yeah, it's very hard to pass at this track off. You know, this is pretty much a one-line track. Well, excuse me, at least you could force the other car to, you know, go offline, and then you can take the race line. But it looks like Michael's getting a little bit more feisty behind Alex here. You might even think he's holding him up. So Alex is defending. So I wouldn't be surprised if we actually see Michael go for a move here, because it looks like Alex is just holding them up too much. He's missed the apex by a mile there. Michael's got a nice run coming down into turn 1, so we'll see how this plays out as they head down towards turn 1.
Run.
Got a great run. He's side by side. And this is the part where, you know, you get side by side, but it's hard to pull in front unless Alex sort of gives them a little bit. Going to go deep on the brakes. It's going to, and he pulls it up quite nicely. So that's Michael wide into P1. Yeah, a lot easier than I thought he was going to be honest.
Like perhaps Alex, you know, again knowing it's only halfway through the race and a championship, you know, position is on the line for him. He's got to be wary of that. So, but Blake Delaney now put the pressure on Alex Court, so I think he definitely did chew those tyres up early.
Yeah, it does. It definitely looks like that, going off how he's driving at the moment.
As you said, you know, it's more the rears than the fronts that sort of hopping around here, because it's all those sort of those quick exits you're trying to do. And, we've seen numerous times tonight already with the guys that the back of the car getting quite lively as they try and get on the gas.
Yeah, and it's only going to get harder as they get further into this stint of this. You know, the fuel's coming off, so you've got less weight to force those tyres to the ground, which means you'll probably use even more rear brake, which will be more heat in the rear tyres. So it's definitely a balancing act with that brake bias in these cars. So you might even just chuck it forward a little bit to see if you can save those rears a little bit without hurting the fronts to the point where you can't turn the car. So looks like Alex isn't too bad for pace. He's definitely a little bit slower than Michael, but he's got that draft just to keep him there or thereabouts with Michael. So if he can hold on through the corners, the straight will give him enough just to keep with him in the tow.
Like we've lost Kai Turner, so I don't know what happened to Kai's internet, their connection or something there, but we've lost him from the session. That's a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think that damage he had on the car would have been enough, as we got Nash in the pit lane now as well, taking his compulsory pit stop. I don't think it would have been enough to end his race, so it does look like he might have had a technical issue there, which is unfortunately put him out of the lobby.
Dave Coleman put the pressure here on Matty Stewart. Okay, Dave's had a pretty good race, started in qualified in 6th position, so he's still in his starting position, but he was right in the middle of that battle pack of 7, 8, 9 cars earlier on, and he's managed to hang on to his position while several of the other guys around and fallen away. Matty Stewart up 5 positions at the moment, so that's great effort from Matty, and really showing the pace that he's shown this season.
Yeah, it's definitely, Matty's never sort of been, you know, outright the quickest on track, but he's always been very consistent, and in a car like this, consistency sometimes is better than outright speed if you can just consistently put, you know, good laps in, especially in enduro formats. That pays off a lot.
I know that I talk about it a lot, that I'm chasing 10ths out there on the track, and then I go and make a mistake and lose seconds. You know,
yeah,
sometimes
absolutely.
I think if you don't chase that extra 10th, you probably wouldn't have made that mistake. But then again, as we said before, if you don't do that, then, you know, you're not fighting anywhere near the front of these fields, just the caliber that we've got.
Yeah, absolutely, especially in the, you know, Slipper 1 V8s. Here with the, as you say, the quality of field, if you don't chase every 10th or 100th of a second, because Matty Stewart's going to pull in and take his compulsory along with Hayden Norris and Bruce Tannock and Scotty Bartran. So they're all coming in about that halfway mark, just a minute shy of it. So they're going for the even tyre wear strategy, and these guys up front I think are going to go longer here as they've got a bit of a gap to that 4th position. But it'll be interesting with Hayden in 4th. He was about 4 or 5 seconds I think behind P3, so he may even get the undercut here and come right up to these guys depending on how long they go on their run of fuel.
Times, the guys are still doing 1 minute 45 at the moment, so we did talk about tyre degradation, but the times that these guys are doing, it's only dropped off slightly.
Yeah, it looks like it, yeah, you say it's only dropped off sort of a second or so, which is, I'm quite surprised. I thought it would definitely be a bit more than that, but obviously a lot of that may come down to track wear and track temperature as well. If it's a friendly track temperature, it'll obviously aid tyre wear a little bit. But yeah, I definitely thought we'd see a lot more tyre deg in the supercars than what we're seeing.
Fairly warm out there, 37 degrees on track at the moment, so that's not a cool track by any standards.
No, it's a pretty warm Italian day. Yeah, no, definitely. With that being said, I definitely thought the tyre wear would have been a bit higher than what we're seeing, but obviously some of these guys will have a nice setup that's a bit kinder on their tyres, so they've obviously put in the practice and put in the effort on their setups to make these cars as fast as they can, but also as gentle on their tyres as they can.
Well, I'm sort of looking at the times of the guys behind them that have jumped into the pit, and they are about a second a lap quicker. So, as you said, it may not be too long before we start to see the front runners come into the pits, just to make sure they don't get undercut.
Yeah, absolutely. It's especially I'd say Blake Delaney in P3. He won't want to fall behind any more people. He'll want to stay in P3 and potentially even do an undercut to get in front of Alex and drive away with Michael potentially. So I think out of those top 3, we'll probably see him in first if they don't all come in at the last lap of their fuel run, as we've got Coleman, Hodds and McManus in the pits as well, just exiting.
Well, it's going to be interesting, the battle between Hayden Norris with Wright Sim Racing and Matty Stewart with Vast Motorsports. Those boys are 3rd and 4th in the championship. But there's only 30 points between them. So, and with triple points, that could be just one position. It switches that around. So, well, probably more than one. But, again, so we might just keep an eye out where those boys are running. Hayden, at the moment, is running 4th, qualified 4th, and is having a great run at the moment. I don't know if Hayden's done his pit stop yet.
I believe he has. Yes, he has.
Yes, he has. It's only out front 3
3
cars
that haven't
pitted now. Yep, that's right.
Yeah, so with that being said, he's a minute and 3 seconds behind P3 and roughly, I'm not entirely sure on the pit stop times, but going off, the Porsches on that, they were about 53 seconds. So it'll come out about 10 with fresh tyres, warm tyres.
Looking at here, most of the guys, the total pit lane time, you between 55 and 59 seconds.
So if that's, so if they'd say 50, we'll go in the middle, about a 57-second pit stop time for these guys in front. If Hayden can, go another 3 laps without these guys pitting, he's only 59 seconds behind them. So that gives him the window to be right there behind these guys as they come out of their pit lane. And if you can put the car in the right position, eventually these tyres do sort of plateau out, which means those guys with the fresher tyres up front won't be able to make a pass, and you can claim track position. So definitely something if I was Blake, be looking at, because I'd rather be in sooner than later. Hayden, they're doing a 44.5 as his best lap of the race. So he's definitely trying to push and gain on these front guys.
Yeah, but I was looking at the times of those front runners, and that's not falling off either. So.
Yeah, these tyres do sort of plateau a little bit. Alex has actually caught back up to Michael, so it looks like his car's come back to life with the with the low fuel. He's going to make a move here into the last corner. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Michael duck off into the pit lane here. No, he's actually staying out. These guys must have really fueled their cars up to the max. But I think he's
Or
going to
just
let Alex
enjoying
go.
the battle. Enjoying the battle. I know that Alex has really enjoyed the competition this season. I know early on in the season, he was talking closely with race control because he got involved in a couple of incidents and that. But you know, I mean, we know the guy's got pace, and now he's the battles last week in the supercar and Alex pulling off a big sort of last minute dive at the last two corners to get under. I think it was Blake had run away with the race, so that I remember who he passed.
I think
Probably
it was
Michael. Oh no, Michael had run away the race.
Yeah,
Blake. Yeah,
he dive
right.
bomb. Well, not dive bomb, but he made a nice deep braking maneuver on Blake into that second to last corner, which I was very surprised to see. Yeah, I was very surprised to see when I watched the replay back a couple of days later. It was yeah, hell of a move, and obviously he was chasing the championship, so he had to sort of go for it a little bit. But yeah, I was very surprised to see that move. I didn't think he was quite close enough, but yeah, fair play to him.
Oh, look, you know, I think as we said to the boys that night, you know, if it was the last corner move, you probably expect it if you leave the door open a little bit. You know, if it happened on lap one, you might be a little bit miffed about going for that on lap one. But, I mean, look, the boys are here to race, and that's what we want to see them race. So, and I think Nancy Senna was the one that said, you know, if I see a gap and I don't go for it, I'm not a racer anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
He did try to use that excuse to explain why he T-boned Alan Prost.
Yeah, there's always limits to what it is, but it's yeah. Look, most of these guys, for what we've seen tonight as well, clean, hard, fair racing. So kudos to them, and hopefully they can keep it up for the remaining half an hour we've got here.
That's right. Well, most of the time it's a mistake. I was actually going to ask you earlier that, I mean, you said you've spoken about this place being a difficult place to pass, so it seems to be more about sort of forcing the guy in front of you to make a little mistake, you know, break a little bit deeper, or, you know, as you move over and just make that block a little bit, which makes his exit a bit more shallow.
Yeah,
Really
absolutely.
try and do? Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to sort of yeah, make that guy, you know, defend, or even yeah, just place your car in a way where you've got to go for switchbacks, or as we saw Alex do earlier, or Michael just sort of commit to a late deep braking maneuver and just sort of hope it sticks. Yeah, that's probably the one that I'd more go for, especially if you can get a little bit of a run. If you can outbrake the guy by 5 meters, you know, you'll be alongside of him and you can claim that inside track position as well. Looks like Scotty Bartram's had a pretty good run. He's back up into P10, hunting down Matty Scholes. Matty Scholes, I do believe, jumped him in the pit stop because I think he was behind him, so might have had a bit more fuel in the car, fuel saving there during that first stint. But if Scotty can stay where he is with Bruce Tannock back in 12th, that should be the, as I say, the second position for After Dark there in the team's championship.
It was pretty close. It's only 12 points separating After Dark and Riot Sim Racing 1. So
Yeah.
at the moment, we've got Alex out front and Scotty in 10th, and yeah, the two Riot boys in the middle. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the points play out. There's not a lot of a gap there.
Yeah,
that might be one where we don't get to see the result until after tonight.
Yeah, well, obviously they're 4 cars. I'm not super familiar with who's actually part of Riot Sim 1 and Riot Sim 2 in terms of their teams. Do you know if it's who is it, Norris and Tannock?
I think they're 2 because Bruce runs under Mag and Turbo Motorsport, so
that would mean
it's so I don't know if that's the first one or the second one.
It's always
I'm not
complicated.
sure. We might have to make sure the boys clarify that for next season to help us out.
Potentially, because if it is, say, Norris and Tannock being 4th and 12th versus 1st and 10th, that'll be very close, and almost give it to After Dark by probably 1 position. So probably 30 odd points at the moment, given the triple point status. But if it is say Norris and Nash there, then they've probably actually got the that second place there. So it probably will be something we'll look at post race and see if we can get a answer from the guys. But yeah, it depends on that combination as to sort of what the championship there, the team's championship, sorry, is looking like. But I think Scotty's going to be on the mission to try and gain as many positions as he can anyway.
Looks like he does. Looks like that was Matty Scholes that just got a little bit of a bobble on the exit there. I think he probably got a bit of those sausage curves and had to let the car settle. And Scotty almost ran into the back of him actually.
Yeah, it's it looks like Scotty might even make a move. Oh, that was very close. Make a move here shortly because it looks like Matty Scholes is holding him up just a few tenths a lap, which obviously makes a big difference as Alex Court and Michael Whiting hit the pit lane, and Blake's going a longer lap, so it looks like he was able to save a bit more fuel there, being in the third position.
Harry Dodd's up in front of these two boys in 8th position at the moment, so recovery from Harry. Harry did pit 2 laps later than Matty Scholes, 1 lap later than Scotty Bargent, so Matty Scholes is pitted on lap 18, Scott on lap 20, and Harry on lap 21. So that just might give him enough life, but at the moment doing a great job there, Harry, up in front of these boys.
Yeah, and just in front of him, only a couple of seconds, is this battle here we've got on screen with David Nash and Matty Stewart. And if these guys keep battling, it only takes, as we saw earlier, you know, a couple of sides. Oh, they're off. That's not going to be a good result. Who's in the wall? Oh, they managed to all keep it off, but that's going to give... Ooh, what's the rejoin, boys? It's probably going to give Harry incentive here, as they'll both have potential slowdowns.
I think it's him. Looks like that was Matty just going back through, so David letting him back through. But yeah, that was a big moment.
Yeah, and as I was
trying to have a look at that again, Shibby.
Yeah, and as I was saying, if they battled like they were going side by side, Harry would be there any second, and there it is. It looks like Nash is going for the outside, and might even be a little bit of net code there with the initial contact, and it's just sort of sent David off there.
He might have opened the steering out, just trying to get a better exit through. I think that might just be a bump and, you know, Rubbins racing sort of situation. But as you can see Harry now, Harry getting right on the back of him.
Let's see how interesting surfaces.
Oh, so tap
yeah,
there, so
a little bit of net code tap, and it's just both of them are just straight line that first corner. So no harm, no foul in the end. But yeah, looks like David.
Well, Harry Dodds has got through there on Matty Stewart now, so as well. So perhaps that has hurt Matty's car a little bit there, or at least, you know, as we know, when you have it off, it'll generally take, you know, 3 or 4 corners for you to get the garbage off the tyres to the point where you can push like you were. You know, if you try to take a corner like you normally would, the corner after you've put some grass on your tyres, you've got no grip.
Absolutely, and also takes another good couple of laps to probably get back in your rhythm, just because you're a bit, you know, flustered and phased, and then takes a couple of laps just to settle back down and find that groove that you're comfortable driving the car in again. Got a good battle here with Alan, just chasing down Dylan Thomas. It's so Alan has used his fast repair during that his compulsory pit stop, and he's got a brand new Mustang supercar here chasing down Dylan, and who's that just in front of him? Bruce Tannick. So yeah, Bruce hasn't had a great recovery after obviously having a bad start there with the turn 1 off and the penalty as well, stop and hold penalty. So he's done well to come back from the penalty side of it as well, but it's normally a name you'd associate with more sort of that top 5 or so positions. So
Jimmy, just if you want to have a look at the YouTube, there looks like we've got a spammer in the chat. Unless any of us knows Naked HD. Alright, so should we just say it thinks it's blocked? We'll keep an eye if we see it come up anymore. We'll let you know, buddy. But we've got to focus on the action right here in front. We've got Alan Dawson and Arma Sharma here battling hard. This is for 14th and 15th. And this is what the great thing that we say, you know, even though we get focused on the front end of the grid, and you know, those performers that are pushing hard up front, you know, we can look back through the packs and just find more and more battles.
Yeah, absolutely. It's as I say, the quality of driving in Super One, you've got probably, you know, those top three up the front, Blake, Alex, and Michael, who are sort of pulled away, but everyone else then sort of got, you know, battle packs of 2s or 3s, and as we saw before, when you've got a battle pack of 2 and another car a couple of seconds behind, they get into it a little bit, and that third car joins the pack, and then you've got a train of 3 that are now battling for the same position. So
And that's what we love to see.
yeah, absolutely. It's you know, rubbish racing. It's all fair until it sort of goes south. But as we saw there with that readdress from Scholesy to Maddie, and then Harry was able just to, sorry, Nash and Stewart, and Harry was able to take advantage and gain a position out of it. So he's having a good run. As Scotty still can't get past Matthew Scholesy, so these two are having a ripper battle.
Well, it looks like race control hasn't made any calling on that incident. I think I heard him on the radio there talking about it being a bit of net code and perhaps just a driving incident.
Yeah, I definitely think that first initial bit of net contact was a bit of net code, and then obviously from there neither car's really in control of what they're doing because they get flung one way or the other with the net code sort of spring that happens. So yeah, I think it's just an unfortunate incident, really.
Look, you know, it's one of those things. I suppose one of the great things about a league like this, where we can host it in an actual server in Australia, is that we don't have as much of an issue with that net code. You know, if we're all from a similar part of the world. I know, you know, when I try to jump in a European race, you know, my ping will be up over 200, and that's when you've got to give it even more room than you normally would. You know, you've got to be careful and account for a bit of net code.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for me personally, when I get to obviously officials and stuff, being the I-rating I am, I've got to push as hard as I can just to keep up with some guys. So I always have it in sort of the back of my mind about the whole netcode thing, but I've got to race so hard just to try and keep, you know, my I-rating and safety rating that I have to sort of forget about it and just hope that it doesn't happen, unfortunately. But it's never nice when netcode is the determining factor of a race or an incident. Obviously, iRacing have been trying to do improvements, but it's never going to fix people's internet.
Well, that's right. We all live in different parts of the world with different internet speeds, different providers, and that. I think, you know, even for us to be able to, you know, sit down and race with people all across the world, you know, is, you know, a great thing in itself. And if we means we need to have a little thing called netcode to even up the racing and that, and you know, iRacing having predictive, you know, where it sort of takes telemetry and has to predict where you are if your net drops out. But I think that's a lesser evil in a way. You know, we get to have this great racing, and I mean, these pictures are looking awesome tonight, Shibby. I see you've been trying out a couple of your new camera angles and that you've been playing around with.
Yeah, it's yeah, definitely some good views and camera angles. We've got some Troy Dooley just letting these guys by here on the main straight. But David Coleman's, you know, on this bit of a charge back here. He split the two right sim boys, and he's actually chasing down Hayden Norris, only 5/10 behind. So he may even be trying to come up into P4 shortly and make it 3 out of the 4 top steps as Fishy Motorsports here shortly.
You know, Hayden's done a great job of keeping his car in 4th at the moment. He is in 3rd position for the championship, so he really needs to just make sure Matty Stewart stays back where he is. That's his main rival in the championship. But I'm sure that, you know, he wouldn't mind seeing a bit of action up front and taking a podium position in this race as well. But
yeah, absolutely.
Alex is now a 2.5 seconds in front, so looks like Blake and Michael have just sort of settled back into their rhythm again now. Those boys, have they finally hit it? They have.
Yeah, they have, yeah. Looks like Alex managed to get the net gain out of that and pull a little bit out of that draft.
Well,
so.
Blake Delaney ran 3 laps longer than Michael and Alex. So, again, that would have probably been because he was able to sit in the train for most of that and save fuel.
Yeah, absolutely.
it's giving him an extra 3 laps. So, you know, if he didn't have a championship on the line, he'd be having a red hot go, I think, for victory.
Oh,
Bruce Tannock trying to squeeze up the inside of Dylan Thomas.
going into the
Thought
chicane.
better of it there.
Yeah, and just into the front there, going into the chicanes. He's not going to get the run coming down to this penultimate corner either.
We're going through Aqua Minerali. Minerali. Got to say it right.
It's
So the Variante Alta is the next part. Which is, I know that's the actual chicane there is Variante Alta. There you go.
Yeah, I think
I've got all
Blake's
these track names up and and all that, but
yeah, I think Blake has, with the fresher tyres he's got, is definitely hunting down Alex here pretty quickly. He's already got that gap down to half a second. So
43s, Blake on 43.6.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
That's
surprised
the best lap of the race so far.
if we see Blake go for a move pretty soon on Alex. Even though he does obviously have that championship to think about, I think he's still a racer at heart, so he's going to make a move in the near future, and we might see that in the next few laps.
I thought Dave was going to stick it up the inside there.
Yeah, he's definitely on the new. Oh, I wouldn't. Let's call it turn 8.
Trying to remember turn 8.
But yeah, he's definitely got good pace on Hayden here. Hayden's got a really good exit through that chicane though.
Well, that cost him there. You could see Dave ended up just didn't take quite enough of that first curb and ended up shallow on the exit there, so that cost him a bit of time. But yeah, look, back to the front here, and Blake Delaney putting the pressure on Alex Court, our championship leader, with a big lead over the driver in front of him. But as you said, Blake's a racer at heart, so he's pushing hard.
Yeah, I think he's got the under over here. As you know, they'll go side by side into this into the chicane, but I think Alex is just going to give it to him because he knows he's a bit of a shot duck. So if he can stay behind him, stay with him, and then when those tyres plateau out a little, he might be able to come back towards him, as we saw him pretty strong in the last half of the race, stint, sorry. So he might just play that long game again, and another 10 minutes or so when the timer gets down, we'll might see him come back at Blake.
Dylan Thomas looks like he might be struggling here at Imola tonight. He's Bruce Tannock has barged his way through, and now we've got that Alan Dawson right on the back of Dylan.
Yes,
Oh, I thought he was going to get the switchback done there. Dylan was definitely loud on the pedal trying to stop that from happening. That was that section I was talking about there where the car's loaded on the left-hand side and it just floats across that sausage curve there. We got a great view of that. Shibby's spoiler cam. Is that what we're going to call it? Shibby spoiler cam?
Sounds like a good idea to me. Sounds like a good camera name. It's, yeah, definitely you can, just looking at that camera we saw angle there, we saw they definitely take that curb a hell of a lot nicer than the Porsche Cup car did. We sort of had to avoid that curb just to avoid spinning the tyres a little bit. Looks like
that camera angle makes you think like they're going to touch, but
it's definitely seems like Alan's a bit stronger under brakes and through the corner, but Dylan's a lot better on that corner exit.
Something big has happened to Alex McManus recently too. We missed a big crash. He jumped into the pits, so
well, we'll see if we can get a DSL Welding replay for that one.
See what happened to Alex. Oh, he's blown the engine.
Did you say, did he rev it and blow the engine? Yep. Been a while since I've seen someone do that in iRacing.
Shush, I did that. I did it. I did it in one of the Bathurst 1000s I did. I think it might have been the Dolby Racing one. But I did it coming into the chase on the last lap of my required driver. So I was able to put the clutch in and coast into the pit lane and get out of the car, give it the toss.
Nice. Yeah, I can't say I've ever done it personally. It's I know a lot of people have done it, especially at Bathurst 1000s, but it's something so far that I've been able to avoid doing.
Make sure you touch wood there, buddy, before for you next race.
Oh, I know I'm going to do it. I don't drive this car enough to be able to do it, but it looks like these top three are closed right up again, and Michael's closing up on Alex here, so could have a nice little juicy battle in this last sort of 10 minutes we've got here.
I see you playing around with that camera angle there, Shibby. Nice, buddy. Driving away, but that's that imaginary drone cam, is that what we're calling it? We're just commenting on Shibby Howard, our technical director for tonight, has been playing around with the great pictures, so, you know, they're able to get some mouse control where you can actually draw away and draw the shot out, and or hold it in position so you can see these battles. Harry Dodds making a move on David Nash here. That's a bold dive from Harry. Yeah, I thought that looked pretty bold.
Which is allowed.
And that's a big slowdown.
Matty Stewart, Matty Scholes, and Scotty Bartram. They're going to go three-way. Ooh.
I think that both Harry and David got a slowdown there. Was that a tap in the back there? But Harry's done well to hang on to it.
Looks like Harry's actually got some pretty nasty damage there to the right side as well, so he may even be struggling a little bit here.
Oh, he had some good pace, but the front right side of that car doesn't look real good.
No, it doesn't, and amongst that as well, Scotty Bartram's got him past Scholesy, so...
can't read the Cowie music on the side of it anymore. I pay for sponsorship money and can't read it now. Take the car up. No.
It's,
there it is. I got it there. So, thanks, Shibby.
It's, I think Scotty Bartram's going to be loving that. It's, he might even be, if Harry has got a bit of damage, well, it looks like he's pretty onto the pace again. Scotty might be able to make that move and get into the top 8 here shortly as well.
Well, I think as we've said before, I think, you know, this track seems to be more about the exit than the entry. So yeah, that might be a bit of a boat for Harry to turn it in, but as long as he can get it in and get it straight on the exit, it's not going to hurt him too much. Yeah,
exactly. It's definitely is a track that if you nail your exits, you'll be near impossible to pass. So, especially if he's got a little bit of that damage, maybe affecting his steering and stuff. If he can focus on straightening those exits out, he'll be alright. But he's going side by side here with Scotty Bartram.
I would say that damage might be partly why we saw them both run through. Can we actually have a look at a replay of that incident last lap between Harry and David? Because I don't think Harry had damage on that car before then, so I think that's where it's all happened. Alrighty. Okay, so I think we're having a look at, first was it, I'd say it's where Harry's gone for a big late move up the inside. I don't know.
Maybe on the
Where's the damage? That car must have been damaged before then.
It looks like it, because I don't think there was any further contact, so
yeah,
maybe he's rubbed up
to that car before then.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, that was just, he had some good pace there, even with the damaged car. He's still got some good pace, so it doesn't seem to be affecting Harry too much there.
Yeah, it's obviously just a little bit more cosmetic than it looks. Essentially, it's not as bad as it looks. So yeah, look, and he's pulling away from Scotty here, so he's obviously not got too bad a pace left in that car.
Again, one of the later guys pitting in this race, but nothing on the leaders. They pitted at lap 26 and Blake Delaney at lap 29. Because the rest of the field sort of were getting their pit stops done between laps sort of 18 and 20.
Yeah, I definitely think a lot of those mid guys went for sort of even tyre where pitting. Oh, nice battle 3.
Blake Delaney has made a move on Alex Court there, and Michael Whiting looking to try and get in on the action as well. He's got up on the inside here, should have the corner. Alex just
going to hold it around the outside, so that gives Alex the inside coming into this double right-hander. Is Michael going to hold there, or is he going to back out? Looks like
they've tapped.
Oh, so it'll be interesting to see what's happened there. Hopefully Alex can get back on the track quickly and not lose another position. He's going to come in quite nicely, about 7 seconds
Jump
front
back
together.
out and have a look at DSL Welding Services action replay. So the guys have just rubbed there a little. And it's again probably a little bit of net code there. Alex was trying to open out the corner as much as he could, and you know, Michael was driving his normal line, so I don't know if race control's going to have much to say there. But
Yeah,
we'll leave it to them. That's why we pay them the big bucks.
Yeah, I think that was purely just a bit of net code, unfortunately, again. But yeah, that's pretty much summed up the top 3 results, unfortunately, because I think, as I say, unless said earlier, if Blake and Michael are close, they might Blake might give Michael the win there to try and boost his championship standings as much as he can. Now that Alex has fallen off another 8 seconds down the road.
It's going to be hard for Alex to make that up, seeing that they've all been, you know, separated by tenths per lap, you know, not seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. So that might be a potential thing that we'll see happen in the next. We've got 5.5 minutes to go, but we've still got David Coleman here battling hard with Norris as well. So these guys are going to go right to the wire for this 4th position by the look of this.
Well, again, I think, you know, that tyre degradation is sort of starting to come back into it, just more in the way of creating those little mini mistakes, you know, where you just don't have the grip you thought you did, so you slide a little bit deep, or you get a little bit of wheel spin on exit and the car does a little bit of a waddle, you know, and sometimes that's all that needs to happen for the guy behind you to take advantage of it. But I suppose you just got to hope that he's been chewing up his tyres just as bad as you have.
Yeah, absolutely. It's as we saw Blake there earlier, obviously when he was in behind other cars, he was obviously able to save a bit of fuel, coast a bit more, and not put as much brake pressure in, which saves his fronts a bit more. So definitely sort of now with, you know, 4.5 minutes, probably potentially 2 more laps after this, these guys are going to be giving these cars everything they can, especially Scholesy. They're taking a lot of exit curve on the inside there, so he may even potentially get a slowdown from that. So these guys are going to be battling hard. You got Matty Stewart chasing down what have we got, Nash, and then you've got Coleman chasing down Norris. So, you know, there's a couple of battle packs here. It was all David's going for a move, and Norris shuts the door on him there a little bit going into turn 1, or down the main straight, sorry.
Dave's kept that car looking pretty clean at the moment, so Hayden's car was showing a bit of wear early on, but I think did he fix it in the fast repair?
I would guess so, yeah. It was about halfway through the race when he had that damage and he pitted, so I wouldn't be surprised if he cleaned it up during that compulsory pit stop there.
We're back with Matty Skulls here trying to put some pressure on Scotty Bargen. Matty getting sort of caught up, and I think got a 10-second penalty from race control. But now trying to sort of fight his way back up into the top 10, so that's a good recovery from Matthew, and he's got a chance of maybe getting a spot or 2 more as we come into the last 3 minutes of the race. So perhaps 1 more lap after this one.
Yeah, I'd say so. About 3 minutes. Yeah, it'll be approximately 1 more lap, maybe 2.
Try and keep an eye on Barney, the flag man, and see if he's out there waving it.
Yeah, good old Barney giving it his best. Looks like
again, we're 67 minutes into our enduro race, our finale championship decider, and I'm looking at the timing boards here, and there is at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 battles going on. So who says that enduros can be boring?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, these guys have been putting on races and good battles all the way back to, you know, 12th and 13th here with Dylan Thomas and Alan Dawson. So kudos to those guys for obviously putting on good racing and good viewing for you, the viewers. Good action, sorry, for the viewers. So it's been great to commentate. So these guys are definitely putting on a show tonight.
Well, this is what I get in. I'm into iRacing for, buddy. I'm not one of these fast aliens like you lot. So for me, it's all about the battles out on tracks. So, you know, if I get in and amongst it, if I'm battling for first, I'm battling for 20th. you know, then as long as I'm battling, I'm having a ball.
Yeah, absolutely fair. You know, I love a good battle. Good example, I did AHU the other day at or yesterday, sorry, at Phillip Island, and between, you know, the first stint, I went from 16th to first as we've got Alan Dawson there just going for a bit of a surfing trip through the kitty litter. But those guys were, you know, first to 16th was covered by 2/10 of a second in quali. So
It's crazy.
it was
Grayson Cole was
absolutely
just
something.
advising there that was he was calling a net code and just racing incident, so there's no further action. But the contact between Michael Whiting and Alex Court there.
Yeah,
Oh no! Was that Matty Scholes that got
I
that
think
sort
it
of
was,
spun the
yeah.
car there on the exit? So
It's very
unfortunate for
unfortunate.
Matty. He was battling hard for those positions. He's still in 10th. It looks like
Too
maybe
much
just
curve
on the
on the left.
that,
Yeah.
no, it's the bump. So there's a bump there in the track when you come out of Riviazza, and you actually almost come and drive straight over the top of the green curve to avoid it. If you come out too much actually onto the track, then that's it. That was the bump. And I know I've been practicing that line. Was for the radicals, it was even more pronounced. So in the radicals, you'd actually almost ride straight over the green curve would be to avoid that bump. All right, so I'd say we're coming into the last lap. This is the battle for 8th position at the moment. Harry Dodd's trying his hardest to keep Scott Bargen behind him. That car has got a bit of damage. Is that David Coleman trying to go around the outside of Hayden Norris, and he's spun it. Again, just trying to get on the gas. The boys are pushing hard.
Absolutely. It's you know, last lap, all go for it. It does look like David Coleman has lost the position to Nash though, and Matty Stewart, so it looks like he's taken a little bit to get going again there. He's actually lost it to Scotty Bartram and Harry Dodd.
I think Blake Delaney maybe getting a little bit aggressive there, maybe celebrating a little bit too early, but those boys be coming around near to the last couple of corners.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see him pull aside here and let Michael go for the championship side of it, but
he's going for a big drift. Go around them. We have our round 10 winner and series champion Blake Delaney with Fishy Motorsports has come across the line. Michael Whiting in second position. That will help Michael's points in the championship as well. But we'll have to see if it's enough to move him up. He's currently, I think, running 5th. Alex Court rounding out the podium in 3rd position. That will keep Alex in his 2nd position for the championship. That's a great drive from him. Hayden Norris crossing the line in 4th position. Hayden is 3rd in the championship, and things will stay as is. So that's a great result from Hayden. So we'll make sure that we get him into the room as well at the end here. I suppose, do you have a driver of the day that you'd like to call out, Steph?
I'm just trying to think of everything that's happened in the race. There's been so much action. I'd probably give it to probably Matty Stewart almost. He's had a good consistent race. He's been in the battle packs the whole time. He sort of missed the consistency more than outright pace. You know, those top guys were always battling. But yeah, I'd probably give it to Matty Stewart, being nice and consistent there in P6.
Yeah, well, four positions Matty made, so he qualified in 10th and has finished in 4th, so that's a great result from him. All right. So, looks like that is all of our runners have finished the race for this evening. So, Blake Delaney taking out our finale, round 10 of the SRW Sim Racing World TV Super 1 Championship. He's now having a bit of fun throwing the car around, showing he's actually got some skill of drifting, the bastard too. But, these cars are not easy to drift, but they tend to suit. So Michael Whiting finishing in 2nd position, Alex Court with After Dark Sim Racing in 3rd. So it's a fishy 1-2 tonight. Hayden Norris and David Nash in 4th and 5th position, both the Riot Sim boys having a great race there. Matty Stewart with Vast Motorsports in 6th position. He's Stefan's driver of the day, so we will get him into the chat. Scott Bargen in 7th. Harry Dodds in 8th. That's a good race from Harry, up 3 positions from his starting position. Matty Scholes in 9th. That's a pretty good result from Matty too, considering he copped a penalty and got involved in some of the incidents. And 10th position was David Coleman, who again was another one of those guys in amongst the action. Probably on the wrong side of it a bit tonight, but we love watching Dave drive. He's always in amongst the action, and I'm sure we'll see more of him in the future as we move on in future seasons. All right, well, I'm just going to try and see if I can get the boys to jump down into the green room. We've got Blake, we've got Alex. Who else do we need in there? Anthony, Michael. And we wanted Matty Stewart. Where is Matty Stewart? There he is. Room, please. All right. Well, a great night of racing once again here at Sim Racing World TV. Awesome to be able to bring this action to you. This has been my first season commentating. I hope you guys have enjoyed the broadcast and my voice hasn't been too annoying for you. But I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I've got to decide if I want to keep talking about it or get in and race them next season, but that's my decision to make. We'll see where it ends up. Alrighty, so we've got Alex and Maddie in the green room at the moment. I was just waiting to see if the two fishy boys would jump in, but we might grab Alex and Maddie first. Alex and Maddie, we brought you guys in. We're still waiting on the fishy boys, but so some pretty good racing tonight, Alex. Right in amongst it, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Mixed emotions, to be honest, but
look, it was always going to be a hard task for you, buddy, because you were a couple of 100 points back there from Blake, and so it was going to have to be something pretty drastic to change the championship standings, I think.
Oh yeah, look,
you're fighting amongst them, mate. Did they try to bully you a bit there? I could see that Michael was pretty keen to pile on the pressure, and then Blake just had tires on you at the end there.
Yeah, look, they were playing a bit of games, I think, but yeah, all credit to Blake. He's driven well all season, so yeah, congrats on the championship to him. Yeah, look, I'm pretty sure I've wrapped up P2 in the championship, and I think we've got P2 in the teams championship. I think we may have done enough.
We weren't sure who was in right 1 and right 2, so we weren't sure how the points were going to play out there for the team championship, because it was only there wasn't much between After Dark and right 1, I think.
Yeah, no, there was like 12 points or something, I think. So yeah, look, either way, we've either got P2 or P3 in the teams championship. So again, awesome season for the After Dark boys. Couldn't have done it without them.
Yeah, no, you guys have had a great run this season. I mean, it's been a bit up and down races for yourself, but I mean, in the end, buddy, you've shown your pace, and everyone knows about you. So you've put yourself on the map at least. Maybe a target on your back for next season.
Oh, definitely. Look, I think there's with having pace and good results, it's always going to put a target on your back. So look, it's something I expect in racing. No one's going to make it easy for me. Like I'm not going to make it easy for anyone else. So
well, yeah, just grab Break and Michael in, so I'm sure that they could testify that you weren't making it easy tonight. Blake, another race win, buddy, and the championship is yours.
Yeah, it was a good race. Plenty in it all night, to be honest. It was a lot of fun. It was a great championship. The boys, everyone raced really, really well. I enjoyed it a lot. So Well done to everyone. Well done, Alex. Good fight all year, mate. Heaps of fun running with
Cheers,
you.
mate. Cheers.
You were
There's
able just to sit in the tow there and save some fuel for a while. You know, we noticed you went sort of about 3 laps longer than everyone. Came out with a bit pressure rubber at the end.
Yeah, probably put in about 10 litres too much in the stop too. But
Oh, no.
it is what it is. It was car was good coming out of the stop. I was able to reel Alex in pretty quickly and get past, but then just get on the fuel save a little bit after that.
Yeah, we weren't sure if you were going to make a move. You were going to just maybe just sit in behind him and look after the championship. But in the end, you're a racer at heart, buddy. So you had to go for the W.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, the I had enough fuel, obviously, but I just wanted to make sure. I made a few mistakes during the year with fuel saving, and just wanted to make sure we got it in the end there. It's good to get a 1-2. Bad luck to Alex at the end there. Bit tough on the in the end, but hey, what a season! Heaps of fun. I think everyone had a ball. So yeah.
Well, Michael, you were in amongst it there. So was the initial idea was to just run wingman, let Blake get away, and then you ended up in front of him. He let you through. So were you
Yeah.
supposed to go away with it, buddy?
No, look, it was as you know, there's no team orders generally most times, so it was just. You're right there, Blake. You seem like you might be choking on something. Do you want to mute yourself while you sort that out? Or? No, it was a good race. We just barreled to the end and see who comes out on top.
No, awesome.
I'd like
Well,
to
we
say
certainly-
that Alex too, just before you jump in there, Kerry, that move on Blake coming down the hill was one of the best I've seen there. That was a belter.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, I don't know how he pulled it up, to be honest, mate.
He did well.
I saw you come
Yeah.
up, thought, geez, we'll open up the steering a bit here, and he's going to send it off into the fence, and somehow he made the corner. I couldn't
It
believe it.
looked like the last one near the end there, I think was just a combination of net code there, so nothing really in that, boys.
Yeah,
It's
it's
unfortunate.
unfortunate.
Around there at the end, Alex.
Yeah.
These things happen. All right. Well, look, we'll give it to you, Blake. You are our race 10 winner and series champion, buddy. So sprig those sponsors and see how much more dollars you can get your way, buddy.
Look, thanks very much to everyone in SRA. I can't thank everyone enough. It was a heaps of fun all season. I think everyone had a blast. All the boys that drove had a hell of a time. Good racing, close racing, tough at times, but a good series to be running in. And well done to you guys in the booth as well. To the team, Fishy Boys, obviously, there's nothing like running with these guys. Heaps and heaps of fun. But I just wanted to say a big shout out to Josh Thomas at Precision Sim Training. He is the setup guru. If you need help from a setup perspective, get onto him at Precision Sim Training because he is the man. West End Motor Group, obviously, for all your vehicle needs, Parramatta Peugeot Professional, Parramatta City Great Wall, West End Mazda, Parramatta Isuzu Ute, Relax Marine and Game Fishing, and DC Shades. And the cars look amazing on the track just because of Black Wolf graphics.
Awesome, buddy. Well, again, you certainly had a great season and deserved your victory tonight. It was good to see that the boys didn't let you just have it. You had to earn it. But that's great to see. Alex Court finishing in second position for the championship, buddy, and third tonight. We've spoken to you quite a fair bit this season. But how's been your take on the racing, mate?
Yeah, look, overall, it's been really good. Like I said before, the boys came in, Blake and all the Fishy Boys, have had a awesome season. So yeah, look, credit to them.
And look, credit to yourself too. As I've said before, it takes two to tango, and if we want to see action out on the track, which tonight was one of those races where even with 5 minutes to go, we were commenting there was about 5 or 6 battles going on, and we only had 16 cars out on the track. So, that's great to see. Michael, I don't know if there's anything further you'd like to add on calling out your sponsors and all that, and then we might give. Actually, I've got to give Alex a chance. I cut you off, buddy. So you talk about
Oh,
your
good.
sponsors first, and then I'll get Michael. So take it away, Alex.
Yeah, obviously I'll start off with DSL Welding and Racing with Autism Australia for their continued support over the last couple of seasons. Then we've got Corp IT, Dragonrc, above and below stump grinding, Tree Minded, Mod Tint, ABC Transport, AA Designs, DSL Welding Services, and Racing with Autism Australia. As always, shout out to Gary Bradshaw in New Zealand for tuning in. All the boys at After Dark. Also to Scotty, he's had a pretty awesome season as well. For us to wrap up P2 in the teams championship. All the fishy boys. There's that many of yous. Yeah, looking forward to next season, battling it out again. All the admin, race control, the broadcasters, yeah, everyone. Hopefully I haven't forgotten anyone.
Awesome, buddy. Well, we've certainly appreciated and look forward to sort of more battles between you boys and the Fishy Boys next season.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, Michael. So yeah, so throwing it to you a bit prematurely there, buddy, but maybe that's me. But I don't know if you've got anything further to add. I know that you were right in amongst the thick of it there as well, buddy. So you're enjoying the racing yourself.
Yeah, look, the racing's been good all season. I've had a few bad rounds, some technical issues, and some on my own part. But overall, the racing's been really, really good. Bad luck to Alex in the championship. He drove really well all season, been really competitive. So, on a big shout out to all the boys at SRW and yourselves in the broadcast room as well. You guys have smashed it all season, so you've done really well. Big shout out to Blake too. It's his second win tonight. He had a Scops second split win tonight, so he's been on fire lately, which has been good to see.
Like, great work, mate.
And the big
even to get into Scops, mate, you got to do pretty good to make bloody Scops. Either one of those splits.
Yep.
What about the big dyke up in
Up in top
split one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
Jamie
smashed
Dyke,
it.
mate.
Uh,
Awesome.
Yeah, he did a
Alrighty,
good
I'm
job.
good. Looks like we got Harry Dodds has jumped up into the green room. So I've brought you down, Harry. I saw you jump in the green room to say hi, but I just wanted to give Matty Stewart a chance to give us fruit to his sponsors as well, because Stefan has given him our driver of the day. Matty, you had a bit of fun out there, buddy, in plenty of battles.
Yeah, I found myself in the thick of it quite a few times. I found myself struggling turn one, turn two. I just couldn't get enough speed through there, and that's just where everyone seemed to catch me. But all in all, it was really great racing. Had a little moment there, but this is the way it is, isn't it? Rubbing's racing. So, but yeah, had a great season. Big thanks to SRW and congrats Blake on the taking the championship. And yeah, looking forward to next season.
Mate, it's been a pleasure. I know you and I were chatting this afternoon. You were getting a little sneaky practice in for tonight's race, So, but it seems to be a track that suits the V8s, but not the easiest place to pass.
No, yeah, I did. Tonight I did struggle. I do struggle around this track a little bit, to be honest. But I gave my best shot and seemed to just try and keep it clean and come out with a half decent result. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that.
Well, we know you needed to finish in front of Hayden to have a chance of leapfrogging him for the championship. So I think Hayden finished in fourth, so he actually ended up pipping you, buddy. So you took it down to the wire. It was only 30 points going into before tonight, so it was a chance. Just wasn't your night, or didn't happen, or you got caught up in those battles.
Yeah, mate. Look, I'm just happy to finish. Like I've always said, I'm happy to finish in the top 10, man. And I'm pretty happy with how it all turned out. So yeah, can't really complain.
Awesome, buddy. Well, if you want to give a quick shout out to your sponsors, and then we might have a quick chat to Harry and see what his take on the race was, and then we'll take it out.
Yeah, just want to thank Vast Consulting and Aussie Auto Care. A big thanks to SRW and everyone involved with the broadcasting and admin and everyone behind the scenes. And a big shout out to all the drivers too. I've had a great time this season and looking forward to the next one.
Awesome, buddy. Well, we've certainly enjoyed. I know that you've got a fair bit of airtime this year because you've been right in amongst it, and let's hope we see more of the same, buddy.
Yeah, cheers, Cowie.
Awesome, man. Harry Dodds, we've dragged you into the chat. Saw you in the green room lurking there, buddy. You had a pretty good race tonight, up inside the top 10, finishing 8th. There's a fair bit of
Yeah,
action
well,
going on around you, mate.
yeah. Oh man, like I'll tell you what, that it's probably the like of all the races that have gone on for the team and I previously, like it's been pretty tough. But like tonight, like I just wanted to get in, go my hardest, and just like just see how I went. And like I'll tell you what, I've never had so much fun than I have previously. Like these battles all up and down. Like first up, before I go any further, congrats to Blake. Like you've driven a great season, mate. Like taking the mantle from your teammate Jamie Dyke. So yeah, awesomely done, man. It's a well deserved title, and yeah, congrats to you.
Appreciate it. Mate.
But yeah, it's overall some great battles. Good battle with Stewie, Scotty Barton, and especially like everyone else here just had no answers to the top three. We're all battling, and they just like took off.
We noticed you sort of had a fair bit of damage on the right hand side of that car coming into the end of the race there, but didn't seem to affect you too much.
No, that's just the usual little lapse of concentration that I tend to have every once in a while. But yeah, like it didn't really affect me at all really. Like I just pushed on like I should do, and had a great battle like with Daniel Nash. Shout out to him. Like he put up a good fight, some good defensive driving. Really had a good duke out, and then it all of a sudden turned into a 5-car battle, and Stewie got by me again.
We did notice that it was very much at the end of the race there. We had half a dozen battles still going on, and a 70-minute race, 30 laps down. And the battles are still going on. So that just says great things about the pace across the entire field.
Yeah, 100% it was. Yeah, like it was great. It was really good, really good all up and down. Like the racing quality definitely stepped up a notch tonight. Like it was really, really good quality. Great driving from everyone. Good battle throughout the year between Court and Delaney. Like shout out to Alex as well. Like he put up a good fight for everyone throughout the year. But yeah, it's really, really, really happy with how I finished off. Like I'm taking definitely the team and I will take a lot of positives out of that and go into next year stronger than ever.
Well, that's right. You've got this awesome driver that's joined on board too, buddy. So have to see how he goes down the track.
Yeah, look, we'll see how he goes. But yeah, we're definitely gonna step it up as a team. Like we're gonna be doing. I'm not sure actually what our program is going to be over the next few months, but yeah, the boss and I will sort all out. But yeah, we'll go from there.
That sounds great, buddy. Awesome. Now, before we sign off, Steph and I did all the talking in the driver interviews. If you got any quick questions or you want to chat to the boys?
Oh, not really. Just congrats to obviously those that got their respective championship wins or podium places within said championships. You guys have all done well throughout Super 1, and I might be lucky enough to join you on the grid next season. So if so, I'll see you then.
Awesome. Well,
awesome,
certainly
Stephen.
Yeah, unreal, mate.
That was certainly a pleasure having you on board with me tonight, buddy. Filling in for Danu, who's over in Australia here, sunning it up away from his computer. But alrighty, guys, we might wrap up our coverage of the SRW V8 Super 1 series here on Sim Racing World TV. Round 10 is done. Our championship is done. Blake Delaney with Fishy Motorsports is our champion, and Fishy Motorsports also take out the team championship. So congratulations to all of our drivers involved, but especially our winners tonight. But as far as everything else goes, guys, if you're enjoying the action, don't forget to hit the like and follow buttons on our social media pages. Hit that subscribe and notifications so you know when we go live. But on behalf of our management and broadcast team here at SRW TV, Stefan on comms and Shibby behind the scenes, this is Cow, your average sim racer, signing off, saying good night, and we look forward to seeing you all next season on SRW TV.